First, the headlines. Political parties must publish criminal records of candidates in print and electronic media on 3 different occasions, says Chief Electoral Officer Rajesh Agarwal. BJP government at centre in state violate fundamental rights of citizens, alleges Working President of MPCC K. Megachandra. Police foil protest demonstration of JCILPs at Kaisampat Lai Mazam Laikai. Protest to continue at different places. Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the Mami TV English News Bulletin. I'm ALBINA RIAMEI. Chief Electoral Officer of Manipur, Rajesh Agarwal, has said political parties must report the criminal antecedents of candidates, both in print and electronic media, on 3 different occasions. He said this during a press conference held today at the conference hall of Chief Electoral Officer CEO office at Lamfelpat. Addressing the press conference, Rajesh said, according to the directions issued by the Supreme Court, the reports must be published in 3 platforms. First of all, the criminal antecedents of candidates must be published both in print and electronic media on 3 different occasions. Secondly, political parties must upload the criminal antecedent of the candidates within 48 hours of announcement of nomination. Thirdly, the CEO must present the clear report of the criminal antecedent of the candidates to the people, which have been followed since the beginning. The first 2 steps have been recently added following the direction of the Apex Court, stating that both the candidate and the people must be aware of these steps. Rajesh sought people's support in making the upcoming elections a free and fair election. Working President of Manipur Pradesh Congress Committee MPCC K. Megachandra has alleged the BJP government at the centre and the state of violating the fundamental rights of the people and also of making democracy meaningless. Addressing media persons at a press meet at Congress Bhavan on BT Road today, Megachandra further said that many journalists who voice against the irregularities of the government and urged to mend its loopholes were arbitrarily arrested and jailed under irrelevant acts. It is the evidence of the fact that there is no freedom of speech under the BJP rule, he said. Megachandra recounted that a complaint was raised by the voters that they were not allowed to cast vote at a polling station at Nongpo Kaithal Manbi in 2019 Lok Sabha election, following which he as an MLA directed the police on duty to discharge their duty properly. He termed it unfortunate that an FIR was lodged against him under an irrelevant act for carrying out his duty as an MLA. The working MPCC president urged the people to reflect on what the treatment must be meted against a civilian when such ill treatment was meted out to a legislator of the state.
Legislator, journalist, mayamda case pan bagi mahutta haiba. Home Department da lairiba mayam sing che. Madudai duda drug phabagi mayam sing do. Madu prosecution do fajan tawbiyo. Ngasi drug phagiba mayam rupa crore chamagi, crore chamrigi drug phagiba mayam do. Madu prosecution fajana tawnunaba. Madu prosecution fajana tawnunaba Home Department ki lairiba akhoi legal team mayam adagi police personnel mayam sing do madu use tawbiyo. Aja adu hena welfare por kaneba. Ngasi paidagi North East ta paidagi chauna phagiba Myanmar masa yauna foreigner yauna phagiba drug mayam sing do. Madu thadu kibudu karigino. Adigumba the biggest arrest of drug Thawal district ki SB na thadu kibudo. Madu karigino the answer PBO. Adigumba case the biggest in India. Adig the biggest in Northeast India. National papers in the leading to giba adigumba 400 crore subject to confirmation 400 crore ki phagiba duda foreigner yauna phagiba drug airport tagi phagiba do. Adugumba sing to the Karigi prosecution talk there.
Police foiled Joint Committee on Inner Line Permit System JCILPS protest demonstration at Kaisampat, Laimazam Lekai, demanding the state government to mend the loopholes in inner line permit for some time today. Convener of JCILPS, BK Moirangcha, has demanded the government to form regulations to strengthen the inner line permit system at the earliest. As announced by JCILPS yesterday, a sit-in was staged at Kaisampat, Laimazam Lekai Community Hall since 11 a.m. this morning. A team of Imphal West District Police, led by its OC, restricted the committee from staging the protest. Later, the representatives of the committee were asked to meet Imphal West District Commissioner. Speaking to media persons after meeting the DC, BK Moirangcha informed that the DC will issue an order in 2 to 3 days notifying people staying in rents and the owners of the rented houses to complete relevant documents within 20 to 30 days. The DC also assured the committee of taking action against those who fail to comply with the order. BK Moirangcha further said that the government has sidelined the Bengal Eastern Frontier Regulation and is not being implemented in the state, with an aim to include the regulation in ILPS of Manipur and to raise awareness on the same. JCILPS will continue staging protest demonstrations at different places, he said.
चलिबा 2021 के अगस्त की तांग तराग मापन मेमोरेंडम हम पिसन गए मधुगी मेमोरेंडम दे यावरिबा मयाम सिंग अदु अखोई मितोपता लम योनबा याहंदबा अदुगो लोइनना अखोई मागी लेरिबा इंडिजिनस पीपल कनानो हाइबा मसक ताक्तबा अदुगो लोइनना परमानेंट रेसिडेंस कनानो हाइबा मसक ताक्तबा सिगुम्बा अखोई यामना मरु ओइबा पॉइंट मयाम खक लैरि अदुगो लोइनना स्टेट कैबिनेट ना हानो मांग तक वारेब लौग्रबा बिगी पॉपुलेशन कमीशन सेमबगी आया वारेब अम लौग्रबनी अदुबो हाइबो पोतो थबक ओइनो ओंथोक्तना हुजिक फाव लैरि मसिसु अखोई अथु मतमदा तौरगा थबकसि पाइखलनबगी वाफम कया अमा यावी अदु वाफम कया सिंगदो मदुदा अखोई रिमाइंडर ओइना तौरगा पिसन बनी रिमाइंडर सिगी मथकसिदा हौजे अखोइना अमु एडिशनल ओइना पॉइंट मा हापचली पोचे 1951 की मतुंगदा लाकपा नन मणिपुरी मितो मियानचा मयाम सिंगचे वोटर लिस्ट लोकथोकदवनी हाइबा सिमा यावरी इस पॉपुलेशन कमीशन सेमबगी मतंगचे NRC से मसी थौ पाइकदवनी तगु मसुंग पॉपुलेशन कमीशन की मागी सेम मतुंगदा पॉपुलेशन कमीशन दुना सब चाना मागी मथौदो पांगथोकपदु मागी इनकम्प्लीट लोयर मतुंगदा NRC की थबकची कोई पाइकत पिगदवनी हाइबा वाफम जु यावरी
MLA of Lamlai Assembly Constituency Ketrimayum Biren and MLA of Kakching Assembly Constituency Yankom Surchandra have appealed to Speaker of Manipur Legislative Assembly to dispose the disqualification case against 3 MLAs ordered by Supreme Court. In a letter submitted to the Speaker, the 2 MLAs appealed to the Speaker to dispose the disqualification case against them, which was rejected by the Apex Court. It is worth mentioning that, as per an order by the Supreme Court, MLA of Lamlai KSH Biren, MLA of Kakching Y Surchandra and MLA of Kumbi S Bira were disqualified by the Speaker of the Assembly, which was supported by Manipur High Court. Until their disqualification case is disposed, they were allowed to remain as part of Manipur Legislative Assembly. MLA of Kakching Assembly Constituency Mayang Lambam Rameshwar alleged that the claim of intending candidates of the constituency in the upcoming State General Assembly elections that the constituency is lagging behind in various sectors is because the ex-MLA who served as the people's representative for 13 years failed to take up any developmental works in Kakching constituency. The MLA was speaking at the inaugural event of newly constructed bridge along Kakching Makhalekai Naudam Pareng under the MLA Local Area Development Fund, maintaining that an MLA who has been serving the people for hardly a year cannot be blamed for the loopholes in the constituency. Rameshwar urged the people to deliberate on the developmental works he has taken up for the constituency within the short span. He also stated that people see politics as dirty since those practicing politics indulge in dirty things. However, if the politicians practice clean politics and sincerely, no one can say politics is dirty, the MLA said. Rameshwar further said that as an MLA, he has taken up various developmental works in different sectors in the constituency in the past few months and will continue to do the same, he said. Some unknown miscreants left a hand grenade and 4 live rounds in front of the house of aspiring candidate of Hianglam Assembly constituency in the upcoming general elections. Nongmaithem Sanjay at Sekmaizing Kunau under Hianglam police station. The explosive and the live rounds were found around 3 p.m. yesterday. It was suspected to have been left while he and his supporters had left for Tongjiao for an election campaign. Some children reportedly played with the package and later threw it near the riverside after discovering its content. A team led by officer in charge of Hianglam police station, Y. Shanta, rushed to the spot. Later, bomb disposal squad of Manipur police successfully defused the explosive. Felicitation come General Assembly 2021 for Maringa Tangbangna Dangshawa Yinglam MTDY was held yesterday at Sinanu Institute of Sciences Maringfai in Tengnoupal district. MLA of Tengnoupal constituency D. Korungtang, SDO of Paumata, Dr. L. Angshim Dangshawa, along with top-ranking officials of civil services, active services, sports and different departments attended the program. Speaking on the occasion, MLA Korungthang appealed to MLAs not to attend personal celebrations and shift their focus on listening to the grievances of the people. He hoped that MLAs will be able to concentrate on maintaining the law and bringing development in the state. Election co-in-charge of Manipur for the election of Manipur Legislative Assembly and Minister of State in the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Pratima Bhomik, attended a Mandal meeting yesterday at Kumbi Ishing Chaibi Community Hall. The meeting was organized by Kumbi BJP Mandal. BJP's aspiring candidate of Kumbi Assembly constituency and Mangi and his supporters welcomed the minister at Kumbi Kunzi. Residents of Hautak Tampa Kunau and Napak village in Kumbi Assembly constituency presented 42 bags of rice to aspiring candidate of the constituency in the upcoming general elections and Vice President of BJP Bisnupur district Sanjoy Ahantem. The villagers brought 21 bags of rice each. Wahangbam Shamo, a resident of Hautak Tampa Kunau, extended appreciation to Sanjoy for providing the farmers with fertilizers at subsidized rate when there was shortage of fertilizer during the pandemic. The farmers offered the rice to him as a token of appreciation, Siamo said. India reported 5,784 new COVID-19 cases with 252 deaths, 21.3% lower than Monday, according to data shared by the Union Health Ministry. This brought the country's cumulative caseload to 3.47 crore and the total recovery is 83.41 crore across the country. A total of 7,995 patients recovered in the last 24 hours. The recovery rate now stands at 98.37%. However, India's active caseload stands at 88,993 and active cases declined by 2,463. With 252 people succumbed to COVID-19, the total reported that count increased to 4.75 lakh. So far, India conducted 9.90 lakh tests during the previous day, according to the Health Ministry data. A total of 66.98 lakh doses were administered in the last 24 hours, which brought the total tally of vaccine doses administered to 133.88 crore. In an attempt to mount pressure on the government and further their agitation, opposition leaders of the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha will take out a protest march from the Gandhi statue inside the premises of Parliament to Vijay Chowk of the issues of the suspension of MPs from arrest, inflation, farmers' income and lack of discussion on legislations, sources said. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi will lead the march. He is also expected to address the media. Continuing the protest against the suspension of 12 Rajya Sabha MPs, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi today tweeted that the government needed election on democracy. The opposition has been raising the issues regularly in Parliament. Opposition leaders are also staging a sit-in protest in front of the Gandhi statue on the Parliament premises. Week from Monday to Friday till December 23, the last day of the winter session of Parliament. Days after the killing of 14 civilians in Nagaland's Mon district, the Konyak Civil Society Organization, the apex body of Konyak Naga tribes, issued fresh regulations on Monday to continue its strict non-cooperation against the armed forces. Earlier, the Konyak Union had called for restrictions on armed forces convoys and patrolling within Konyak soil. The union said that the restrictions will continue until justice is delivered to the victims. According to the fresh regulations, the Konyak Civil Society Organizations has said there would be no military recruitment rally within Mon district, no Konyak youth should participate in any recruitment rally, and all forms of public relations with the armed forces would be cut off. Black flag should be hoisted on vehicles, Konyak offices, schools, institutions, it added. The organization of the Konyak tribes also said that they will continue their fight for justice. The first phase of their agitation would begin on December 16 with a public rally all over Mon district. China has reported a spike in COVID-19 infections in Zhejiang province, which registered 138 locally transmitted confirmed cases, stated to be that of new Delta strain in sublineage AY.4, prompting authorities to bar millions of people in the eastern province from traveling. This is the first time China has reported the new strain of the Delta variant of the coronavirus, state-run CGTN TV reported. The report from Hangzhou, the provincial headquarters, on Sunday said of the 138 in Zhejiang, 44 cases were reported in Ningbo, 77 cases in Shaoxing, 17 cases were in the provincial capital of Hangzhou. The whole genome sequencing and analysis found that the cases in the three cities were caused by the Delta variant sublineage AY.4, which is stated to be more transmissible and carries a higher viral load than the original novel coronavirus. The report quoted an official with the Zhejiang Provincial Center for Disease Control and Prevention as saying. Before we end the bulletin, let's look at the top news headlines once again. Political parties must publish criminal records of candidates in print and electronic media on 3 different occasions, says Chief Electoral Officer Rajesh Agarwal. BJP government at center in state violate fundamental rights of citizens, alleges Working President of MPCC K. Megachandra. Police foiled protest demonstration of JCILPS at Kaisampat, Laimazam, Lekai. Protests to continue at different places. That's all for today. Thank you for joining us. Have a great evening.